All right, so we got Jimmy. He's getting set up here. But this talk is really interesting. I think for all of us, it's a big problem in the industry right now, and this kind of helps solve that. Earlier in the year, I had the privilege to work with Kevin Mitnick on engagement at Appian. And so as you would imagine, Kevin's MO is to call people and voice fish them. That's what Kevin likes to do. That's his expertise. That's what he's really good at. And voice phishing is a big problem in the industry. This is a way to help solve that. And I was so looking forward to working with Kevin Mitnick again because I really believe that this would severely impact his ability to be successful in his voice phishing. But unfortunately, he's no longer with us. Yeah, still, this is really exciting. This was kind of built for combating that, and so I'm really excited about this. So, Jimmy.
Cool. Appreciate it. Can we get the presentation ready? Awesome. Thank you. So as John said, I am Jimmy Blakeney. I work with Appian and actually was working on this particular product. And can we get the presentation screen up? Thank you. So this is it. Basically, I don't know you. How do I prove somebody that just calls me at random? How do I know who you are if it's somebody I've never had any dealings with whatsoever? And Kwang over here is going to help me be the suspicious, not gullible person that I'm going to be trying to work with. So first of all, we're just going to talk a little bit about this. What's the problem, and where can it be exploited? How do we address it? I do have a live demo, and then we'll talk a little bit architecture and some best practices, some ideas that have come up as part of this. So what is the problem? And this is these two calls are either I have received personally or people I know, especially on the remote control for family, have gotten these. But I'll call at random. Hey, this is Jimmy from the bank. I need to make sure I'm talking with you. Can you verify your social security number for me? Could be legitimate, may not be, but I have no idea who this person is that called me out of the blue for this. The bottom one is one that has received a lot more success is, hey, this is Jimmy. I'm calling from Microsoft. I've noticed there's a problem with your computer. Please install this remote application so I can log in and fix it for you.
It would probably be a bad idea. Why would they even know that?
Exactly. They would never know that, but I can speak from experience. One of my parents has fallen for this. And I'm sure others have had similar examples out there where this has happened. So where can this be exploited? Because as John mentioned, this is the way that a lot of people are trying to get access into corporate information. So this is where we're seeing it more and more is in the corporate space. So one of the first things that I can do is I can call up and, hey, this is Jimmy from IT. I need you to log into this website to help me test this, or for UI verification. I want to make sure everything looks right for you. So I've given you a task. Hey, I want you to go do something for me. And okay, sounds plausible. So I may do that. Another particular attack vector is, hey, this is Jimmy. I need you to change this customer site information for me, or whatever it is, whatever internal configuration for something, because there's a security concern. This is Jimmy from InfoSec. So again, fairly plausible, might happen. The last one is, hey, this is Jimmy from Finance. I need you to transfer $100,000 into this numbered account in the Cayman Islands. So out of these, which do you think is the most successful? I would really hope it's the one on the right, but all of these have happened to various people and organizations across, and I've just got one link of the many that are out there for examples. So this is what we have come up with internally to help help combat this. We have developed what we're calling EVE, our Employee Verification Engine. And what I've developed here is a Google chatbot that basically allows you to MFA a person to determine who they are, to make sure that they're the person I'm speaking with. So with that, we're going to kick into a demo, and I've got, as I mentioned, Kwong over here. So I've got our Google chat up, and I call up Kwong, hey, I need you to do something for me. This is Jimmy from IT. I need you to go transfer that $100,000 for me. Kwong's never met me. He doesn't know who I am. We're several thousand employees. Chances I work remote. He's never met me. So what he's going to do is actually send me a verification request. So go ahead, Kwong, and send me this. So I've got, as I mentioned, this EVE bot, and of course, that's no problem. So when he types in this information, he's requesting the bot to verify me as part of this. So the first thing I get is a request, hey, Kwong's trying to verify me. Sure, I am talking with Kwong. So I hit yes on that. When I hit yes, I don't know if you'll be able to see it, but I actually have a duo push to my phone from that. So I hit approve on that. And of course, for the demo, send it again, Kwong. This happens on occasion. Since this is dev, we'll try it one more time. Yes, I am talking with Kwong. Duo push, approve, success. So he's now got verification that he is communicating with me. Go ahead and send it again. So let's say that I have compromised chat, and I have sent this to Kwong. So I am pretending to be Jimmy on this, so yes, I am talking with Kwong. But the MFA now goes push to Jimmy's real phone that's sitting out there. So I don't know why Eve is trying to verify me, so I deny it. No, it's not suspicious. And of course, more demo troubles. Try it again, Kwong, for me. I don't know if it's something with the internet down here or what. I guess. So no, I've denied the request. One more time, just as a another thing here. If I don't have no idea what's going on, also I can just flat out hit no at the beginning and respond back from there. Go ahead and send one more. I'm going to come back to in just a moment. But so what this allows me to do is to do this verification from a trusted system that I would now have to compromise multiple environments in order for this to work. I would have to compromise not only chat, but I would also have to have physical access to a device. And I'm going to leave that there for a moment, and I'm going to show just a couple of other options that I've added into this. And just for speed, I'm going to do it myself. So I've got it also where I can hit a passcode. So this is using, we have a YubiKey, so I'm using the OTP configured on the YubiKey. So I'm going to type in or press the button. It's going to hit in my code, and I'm going to put yes on it, and then it's going to go out and do a YubiKey verification of that particular device as well. Same thing if I just put in random data in there just to show nothing up my sleeve. Yes. Hopefully we'll come back with a failure, since that is not a valid token there. So I've got another option, a different method, depending on what you want to use. Some environments won't let you put company information on personal devices, so I need another way of doing it. I can issue you a YubiKey. One other method that I've added to this is, let's do my eBot, and I've also added WebAuthn as an option. So if I hit yes, that I am talking on this one, it produces a web link for me to click on and lets the user know that, hey, I'm going to launch a website for you. So this takes me to our Duo authentication site, and you'll see it pops up with the actual key. Again, this is a different method of using my YubiKey to do WebAuthn. I get a success there, and then when I come back to my chat, I get a success response there as well. So depending upon what you're wanting to do, I could use any one of these methods or even tie them together if it's something that I'm a little bit even more concerned about. Maybe it's an executive level person that I want to have the push and the Duo code or the WebAuthn or some other method. Maybe I want to have a different, or tie them together so I can combine those. So as I mentioned, I didn't want to leave this where Kwong had sent me this earlier. I don't know what this was. This was something sent 2 minutes ago. I can't possibly remember something that long ago. But sure, why not? Yeah, I'm talking to Kwong now. So I've put in an expiration in there. I put a 60-second timeout on this so that it will expire, and you would have to start that process again. Just from a security standpoint, I don't want stale data sitting out there. So let me get here. There we go. So any questions on the demo? Any thoughts there? One other thing actually. Kwong, send me one more request. I did forget to mention this. So Kwong has sent me another one, and I want you to click on yes. So he's actually going to click on the yes button for me as well. So then it pops up, hey, nope, sorry, you have to do that first. So built in a little bit of checks on that to make sure of who's working on that. So to talk a little bit about the architecture of this, what I've got is the suspicious user Kwong over there is trying to validate me. And this is just generic. This could be, I'm doing chat right now. You could do this with Slack. You could do this with any other thing that you could create a bot for, or web-based application, anything you want to do for this. So it will send the request to me, and then I have the valid request before it sends. And I think that's a key point here is until the user actually clicks that, yes, this is a valid request, the push never went, or the WebAuthn link never appeared. So there actually has to be an affirmative response from the person I want to communicate with that this is happening. I don't want to just blast out, hey, are you you, are you you, are you you, are you you? I don't want to do that because then eventually somebody's going to hit yes, you get the push fatigue or something like that. So I think that's an important step in this process is to make sure that the person is expecting that and actually is requesting that. So then it sends the chat, email task, whatever you want to do to actually do the verification to that target user, then sends the MFA, which is actually an API call to Duo. So I'm letting Duo handle that actual verification process. That is outside of my control. I'm letting Duo secure that aspect of it. When I get the verification back, yep, everything is good. And in both cases, for the rejection as well as the validation, I notify both people. I think that's also the important part is you don't want one person with an assumption of what the other person is doing. So real quickly, a couple of the best practices and some things that I have learned from going through this. One is for this, you want a very limited scope. This is something I don't want to have. I don't want to have extra permissions on this. I don't want user admin as part of this. I only want this to do authentication. I only want to do this to do verification. I don't want to, because then if something gets compromised, I can create users, I can invalidate myself, I can change users' credentials, I can change users' tokens or things like that. I don't want that as part of this. This is solely for validation of a particular user. And in this case, I have different API keys for the different methods as well. So if one gets compromised, the others are not. So if I'm doing multiples of those for a particular one, you would have to compromise multiple things. Another option is to solicit feedback. There's been several iterations of this. I've changed the way it's looked. I've changed things based on feedback. And that kind of led into the next one, to provide a simple interface. I want users something that's very straightforward, very easy for them to say yes, no, this is it, no, it's not. I don't want any concern on whether this is appropriate or not. Test different devices. For example, the WebAuthn, how do you do that on a phone? Because that's actually have to have a device. Okay, do I plug it in? Do I do NFC? How do I communicate with that? On Android devices, at least here we do a work profile. I don't know if any of you use work profiles, but that's a separate partition on the phone. I don't have a web browser installed in that profile, so the WebAuthn actually won't work in the default setup. So that's something to consider to test. Eliminate stale data. That's where I went back and clicked on yes, and it said, nope, it's expired. I don't want to keep things out there longer than I have. Try to provide that information there. The require user interaction. That's, I want you to say, yes, I am talking with you before you actually start sending out pushes and sending things to people. Use the chat verification authorization. The way I have built this is this verifies that the card that's being sent actually was initiated from the chatbot, where not from a webhook API or something like that. It actually has to be generated within the Google infrastructure before it would be sent out. And then lastly, getting into the last piece is logging, and I've got an example here. Hopefully you can see that I've redacted, but the way I've done this is you can actually track. You see the blue, I've got the message IDs where I can track where something happened, how it came through. This was a push, they got a success on it. Down at the bottom, another one that came through. And then up at the top, I've got one that's actually an error because Jimmy rejected it. So I may want to monitor this, send this to some type of platform, SIM platform to correlate this. And if I start seeing Jimmy has sent out 400 requests in the last 5 minutes, I may need to check into something. Or I start getting a lot of denies from somebody. So I want to check into that. So that is just a quick, wanted to keep it short and leave some time for questions at the end. So any questions? Yes, please.
How would you apply something like this to people like vendors where you have to deal with paying large sums of money that maybe aren't on your Slack or aren't on your chat platform or whatever? Have you thought about how to handle that portion of it? Yeah,
that's the main concern there is out of system, and I would say that depends on how you would like to interact with them. Like I said, right now I've just done this through chat. I could set up a specific vendor room for authentication or one-to-one and bring in that other person. And okay, we're going to use WebAuthn or YubiKey or whatever type token for that as a method, and I just send them that if that's a requirement, or it may be done through some other mechanism. But that is still a little bit of a concern because it does have to be a mutually trusted system that is there. So right now, this is just something that we're doing internally for employees, but yeah, definitely would like to expand beyond that.
Hey, so it sounds like there may be a potential with this for kind of generalizing the idea. So like right now, you're giving me examples where there's like a Google chat bot, and that is the point where you kick off like the MFA process and things like that. So I'm thinking about cases like where an employee gets a smishing message on their phone that says, hey, this is your boss. I need you to buy 25 gift cards for me right now. I'm in a meeting. That's the sort of thing where like there's a potential for possibly a kind of like a generalized app on their phone that's not directly tied to SMS or WhatsApp app or anything like that, where they can just enter in the name of their boss and say, verify you're talking to me. And it'll then go through the MFA process,
right,
get the pop-up and say, yeah. And so then all sorts of different communication channels, like if you want to, you can say, I'd like to get the MFA verification that you're the one who's actually talking to me right now.
Certainly. I've just chosen my delivery mechanism to be chat. Google Chat. You could choose whatever mechanism. You could write your own application. You could develop it into Slack or any other thing that you wanted to. Because all I'm doing are just using the native chat APIs and the native Duo auth APIs for this. So you could build that into whatever framework you wanted to for the delivery to the users.
Yep. All right, cool. Yeah, it sounds like a really good idea, and it sounds like it has lots of other avenues where you can
Absolutely, and that's one of the things I know John and I had talked about is how can we expand this, like was mentioned before, how can we expand this out beyond just the employees, and that implicit trust is really the crux of the problem now, is how do we all agree on what we're going to trust for that.
All right, cool. All right, thank you.
Thank you. Yes.
Could you talk about like what this is running on in the back end and how you develop it?
Yes, this is running through GCP. It is just running as an App Engine serverless instance. It's out there. It's just a Python script that I've developed that's just running out there. That's one of the methods of their chatbot was just a Python script running in a serverless environment. So I just deploy it out there, whatever changes, and that's where the security for the application, I think, comes into play. Is I want to make sure that since it is a Python script that's running out there, I want to make sure that it is actually legitimate, coming from Google at the time and using their authentication tokens and such to verify that. Since I am trusting that to prove who you are, I want to make sure that it's trusted as well. No more questions. I appreciate your time. Thank you.